Tax season, don't you love it? How are we going to get through tax season? How many of us just decide to do things on our own? Well, today's video, I'm going to walk you through how to prepare for tax season, and you can even do this now. Here comes the tax man. Anytime tax season comes, everyone dreads it, struggles with it. Well, today's video, I'm gonna walk you through prepping your taxes. We're not gonna walk through how to file your taxes. I'll do that in other videos, and I'm gonna explain some crypto taxes a little further. I did a video last year, you can check it out here, on how to file your crypto taxes. You know, we're in the financial verse, and this is something that's really important, and you really need to get it right. One thing I do wanna point out is this is not financial advice, so make sure to just take this as edutainment. If you have a pen and some paper with you, right now would be a great time to get that out. This video is gonna be a little bit longer, but it's gonna be comprehensive, and you're gonna wanna take some notes. So let's get into the video and get out your coffee. Let's get ready. All right, welcome back. I'm Nate Polmateer. This is my channel. I have 10 children. I do my own taxes. I have since I was 18 years old. So that's almost 20 years I've been doing taxes. I've been investing since I was 18. Well, I was 19, sorry, since I was 19. So I've almost been investing for 20 years as well. I have a ton of different experiences in buying homes and all these things. And today we are gonna be talking about how to prep for your taxes. So how to have that list available as soon as tax season starts. And you're gonna really wanna start this the year before. But if you haven't, don't worry about it. It's fine, I'll get you going. Even if you have an accountant or you have someone that files your taxes for you, a bookkeeper, this will help even lower your fees for that, because you'll be so organized that they won't have to work extra hours on this. They can sift through all of your different taxes. How do you prepare for tax season? Tax season! Is that how tax season is for you? Let's start out with this list that we really have to create when we are filing our taxes. So when you're thinking about what you need to do for your taxes, you're really gonna be thinking about your income, any funds coming in and any funds going out. So what is your main source of income? Well, it's going to be your job. So you're gonna wanna make a little checkbox to start off. What do I need? I need a T4. So it's gonna show your income. It's gonna show the tax that you paid. It's gonna show how much you paid for employment insurance. It's gonna show how much you paid for Canada Pension Plan. It's gonna show your union dues if you have any. It's also gonna break down in the bottom, if you accepted CERB at any point in time, it'll break down how much you made for the weeks that you qualified for CERB. Another thing you're gonna really wanna jot down is any sort of investments. So did you invest in anything, buy cryptocurrency or sell cryptocurrency, bank interest? Did you donate anything? Did you sell a house? All of these things have to do with money. Money. You don't really want to be doing this the year you file your taxes. So you don't want to cram it all. The best thing that you can do here is January, have a folder or even a notebook. I would say use a folder though. Have a folder and write on the top of it, 2022 taxes. And anytime you get something throughout that year, just put it in that envelope. So whether it's medical expenses, maybe expenses for your business, expenses for anything, and you're just gonna put that in one place in that folder, and that's gonna keep you organized throughout the entire year. So when it comes to tax time, then you already have all of that information available to you, readily available, and then you're just kind of organizing it out of that. But if you don't have that, we're gonna walk through what are the kinds of things that you really do need to have on your radar during tax season, so that you don't end up not claiming something by accident, or you end up claiming something that you shouldn't. So let's sit down and make a list of the possible things. And this is not going to be a completely comprehensive list. I'm gonna use this list that I use for my taxes, and the kinds of things that I need to put aside for claiming. But as I walk through this list, maybe this will pique your interest. Maybe let's give you a quick reminder of some of the things that you really need to check off or mark off for the year. So let's kind of slowly and methodically go through this. So do I have an income? Absolutely. I work for the church. So I get a T4 from the church every year. So the first thing I'm going to write down is T4. So you can start in a notebook and T4. And what is my T4 from? Well, my T4 is from the church that I work for. Now, if you have multiple companies that you work for, then you're going to write down each of those companies under T4. So maybe you did skip the dishes and you're going to get a T4 from them. Maybe on the side, you delivered pizza as well, and you're going to get a T4 from them. So you're going to want to write down each company that you work for. And now, why are you doing this? Well, you're doing this so that as you gather information, you're gonna check this off. So as soon as my employer sends me my T4, I'm gonna print it off, I'm gonna put it in the folder, and I'm gonna mark off, okay, good, I have that T4. Now, what are some other things that you may have? What about a T5? So a T5 is when you get interest or maybe capital gains, and those kinds of things. I'm not gonna go too detailed into what these forms are, but one of them is a T5. And a T5 you would get from like a high interest savings account. So are you using EQ Bank, for example? Description below, you can sign up. If you're using EQ Bank and you're getting something like 1.25% interest or 1.5% or 2%, it might not be a lot at the end of the year, but you have to claim that. So mark down, okay, I do have a T5. Where am I getting my T5 from? All right, so EQ Bank. And I also know I have a personal investment account that's not in a TFSA or an RRSP. I have a personal investment account with Wealthsimple. So I'm gonna write down Wealthsimple. Many of these forms you're not gonna be able to get at the beginning of the year. A lot of these forms you're gonna end up getting closer to the end of February. The deadline for filing this year in Canada is April 30th. And April 30th actually lands on a Saturday. So the deadline will be the Monday, which I believe is May. So the deadline essentially this year would be actually May 2nd. And if you want to check that out, go to the Government of Canada website, the CRA website, Canada Revenue Agency's website, and it will explain when the deadline is. And it will say, like, if the deadline falls on a weekend, then the preceding business day is when the deadline actually is. So this year you have a couple extra days there, and you'll be able to file on May 2nd. All right, so now that you've written down your T5s or some bank interest, what are other avenues that you may have gained money or even lost money? Everything in tax law you have to think of is what is a taxable event? Anytime you exchange currency of any sort is essentially a taxable event. The government wants its piece of the pie. They want to be able to take their portion from you no matter what. So another thing is, I talked about Wealthsimple personal accounts. So if you've sold a stock in a personal account, you're gonna get a T5008, and that's gonna explain whether you have capital gains or whether you have capital losses. So that's another one that you're gonna wanna look for if you have a personal investing account. So a T5008. You know, the really nice part about a lot of these forms is actually they're gonna be provided by your brokerage. So these are not forms that you actually have to create yourself. These are forms that, for the majority of investing brokerages, are gonna be provided by your brokerage. Now, once you get into crypto, now that is a little bit dicier. Now, there are companies like Wealthsimple. If you're under 500 transactions, they will do crypto taxes for you if you've traded in Wealthsimple or if you've traded on a different platform, and they will show wherever you have taxable events and calculate it for you. So that's really cool. I don't use Wealthsimple, I use TurboTax. But if you wanted to make your crypto taxes easier, then you could use Wealthsimple. Speaking of crypto, so that's another one. Are you involved in cryptocurrency? So you want to write that down. cryptocurrency. There are all kinds of different taxable events in crypto, and I'm gonna be doing a video on that just based on crypto alone. I'm gonna do a full length video on that, but just check off, do you have a crypto taxable event? So you can check out that other video to see what types of taxable events are there if you're not sure. Have on your list cryptocurrency. And then as those forms come in, or as you kind of bring everything together, you're gonna wanna check those things off. So as your T5s come in for EQ Bank, check that off, put it in the folder. As your T5008 comes in, check that off, put it in the folder. Right now, all we are doing is gathering information. Do you have any donations? So for our family, we donate to our church, we donate to missionaries in Montreal, we donate to World Vision. Who else do we donate to? We donate to like a youth club in Guelph. Over 10%, it's around 12% of our income goes to philanthropy. So that's a big one for us. So we're gonna write down donations, and then you're gonna like check off which ones you have. So, okay, World Vision, Youth for Christ, well, church. Also under donations, you're gonna wanna write in whether you donate to any sort of political party as well. So again, why are we doing this? We are going to gather this information, and as it comes in, as World Vision sends us a receipt, as Youth for Christ sends us a receipt, as the church sends us a receipt, as a political party sends us a receipt, as anything like that. Even if you have a digital subscription to some news sources, you can claim that as well, but there's only a certain list of news sources. You keep the receipt for that, or go back into your email, see where you have a receipt for that, and check that off. Okay, so what other possible taxable events could you have had throughout the year? Do you use a tax sheltered account? So in Canada, there are 2 available tax sheltered accounts regarding individual. There are also ones for education, but I'm gonna speak to the 2 most common used ones. One's a TFSA. You're not actually gonna get any tax documents for your TFSA. The only thing about your TFSA is you gotta remember how much your contribution room is. Don't go over that, or else you get charged 1% a month until you remove that amount out. So your RRSP, you're gonna get 2 or 3 different types of tax slips. So you're gonna write in RRSP. That's like your 401k if you're in the US. So the first tax slip you're gonna get is for your contributions from March to December. This one usually comes within the first week of January. So you'll mark that off. And then the next 2, you're gonna get one for January and then one for February for the first 60 days of the year. So you have up until February, for this year, it would be February 28th. You had up until February 28th to contribute to your RRSP if you wanted to take advantage of that. So again, we're not gonna go into what an RRSP is, but make sure to mark those down. What other taxable events are there? Did you sell a home? So in 2016, tax law changed in that you have to claim whenever you sell your principal residence. So if you've sold your principal residence, if you have a condo, if you have a home, and you've sold it after 2016, you have to claim that. Down, principal residence. And what are you gonna need to know when you sell your principal residence? Well, you're gonna need to know the sale price, you're gonna need to know the expenses. So expenses are real estate, lawyer's fees, land transfer tax, all these different things. You're gonna wanna make sure that you have the paperwork available for that. So you're gonna write that down: lawyer's fees, land transfer tax, anything that you put into your home. So if you renovated the bathroom and it cost you $10,000, you wanna keep those receipts. When you sell your principal residence, you're gonna write down your disposition, the amount that you got for selling your house. So if you sold your house for $500,000 and that's the sale price, that's gonna be your disposition. So you're gonna write in, but on the next line, they're gonna wanna know what it actually cost you for that house. So if you bought that house for $250,000 and then you put $50,000 in renovations, and you paid X amount of taxes on it. So at the end, you didn't actually make $500,000 on your home because you had these other expenses. So you're just gonna include those other expenses. Now the weird part about this is that this isn't actually a taxable event, but it makes me wonder, why would the government in 2016 in Canada, which would have been the Liberal government, why would they have done this? It may be a foreshadowing of them just setting up parameters so that in the future they can tax those capital gains on your home. They also want to make sure that you're not selling a home more than once a year. So if you sell your home under a year, then that is a taxable event. They allow you to sell one home a year as your principal residence, a place that you live. Now, some other things that you want to look for are other sources of income. So did you have any other sources of income, and are they taxable? So let's say you had a Wealthsimple account and you've been sharing your code around. Is that a taxable event? Are rewards a taxable event? So you're going to have to look into that. Are rewards a taxable event? And if they are, at what point do they become a taxable event? So you're going to want to make a list of things that you know are taxable, but then you're also going to want to make a list of things that you're not really sure of and you need to look into more. One thing that is like a really good idea, or something that you should do each year, is see what are some new tax laws that have come into place. And you can do this simply by just getting on your laptop and Googling CRA new tax laws, CRA new tax credits, and you'll find out, what are some new tax laws for that year? What are some new things that you may have to claim that you didn't have to claim before? And what are things that maybe have even been removed? Now, at one point, you could claim your education credits against your income and it would bring your income down. But now the government only allows you to claim a certain amount a year. So even if you had spent $10,000, you can't claim that whole $10,000. They only allow you to claim a certain amount. And what kind of things do you write down in for education? You're also going to want to write down your educational expenses. So did you have to pay for housing for you to move to go to school? Did you have to pay for books? Were there other travel expenses for you to get to school? Were there pieces of equipment that you needed to buy? All these things you need to make a list for, and then make sure that you have the receipts for it. Now, if you bought something like a laptop, and then let's say you lost the receipt, I would highly recommend, now not financial advice, I would highly recommend that you either one, try to get the receipt for that. So go to the company that you bought it from and try to get the receipt, or two, don't claim it. I know that you bought that laptop, but if you were to get audited, they're gonna ask for those receipts. And if you don't have the receipts, then the government is very black and white. Yes, you get to claim it. No, you don't get to claim it. Now, there are different aspects within claiming expenses that are kind of cool, in that there's like a simplified version when you claim expenses, and then there's a detailed version. Usually in the detailed version, you'll get a bigger credit, but you must have every single receipt. In the simplified version, it's a little bit looser. That doesn't mean that you don't have to produce any evidence, but it usually means that the evidence for those expenses don't have to be as diligently produced. So let's say I moved 200 kilometers and I sold one house and I bought another house. Well, I can prove that I sold the house because I have the receipt of sale and all the lawyer's fees and that. And I can show that I bought the other house. But maybe I didn't keep all my gas receipts, I didn't keep all my food receipts, and I didn't keep any of that stuff. But I can claim, in a simplified version, a certain amount per day. It's like $15 a day over however long it took me to move. Now, if they audit me, which I have been audited before, if they audit me and ask for those receipts, I can show them, hey, I did actually sell my house in September, and I bought a new house in October, and I moved from this address to this address. And that's completely copacetic, that's completely fine. But if you say that I moved, but you don't have receipts of sale, you don't have any sort of receipts, then they're just gonna say, well, how are we supposed to know whether you're lying or not? They're not actually gonna say that, they're just gonna say you didn't show proof. So sorry, you don't get those credits. Now, do you have any medical expenses? So there are some medical expenses that you're able to claim. This could be for private health insurance. This could be for if you have a dental policy with your company, but it only pays, let's say 50% of the claim, the other 50% you can actually claim. So make sure throughout the year that you're collecting those, or at least make a list now and say, oh yeah, I had that big, tooth removed, and I do have a receipt for that, and my medical insurance only covered 30% of that. So I have 70% that wasn't covered. So again, you have to make sure you have the receipts. Don't just guess. You want to have the receipts and have them in order. And that's really what this whole prep is for. Yes, it's for the front end so that when you file your taxes, you have everything there, but it's also for the back end. If the government ever comes in and says, hey,
where's your receipts?
I don't have any.
Okay, well, you owe us $20,000.
Does this happen often? I don't know. I really don't know. I know that I've been audited 3 times in the last like 20 years. Is that often? Maybe. Maybe some people get audited every year. I know that even for our donations, each year we get a flag on TurboTax that says, hey, by the way, your donations are over 5%. It's most likely that you're gonna be flagged. Well, I have all my receipts, so it doesn't really matter. All right, so this whole video is just to prep you for filing your taxes and being ready in case the government decides to audit you. This is really gonna organize you and help you in order to file your taxes appropriately. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comments below. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I really hope that this is really helpful for you, and that you can really get, just get a hold of that financial freedom, get a hold of what it means to have control of your own money, so that at the end of the year, you're not like, oh, I wonder how much I'm gonna get back. If you're really flustered with this as well, make sure to seek financial advice. Make sure to bring it to an accountant or a bookkeeper or a professional. You can reach out to me if you like. If you have any other questions, just DM me on Instagram. I'll try to answer your questions. I'm not gonna give you financial advice. I can coach you a little bit. But yeah, let me know if this was helpful or this wasn't. And I think that's about it. Also, don't forget, once we get to 500 subscribers, I'm giving away a t-shirt and a mug. And if you want to purchase these, again, just DM me on Instagram or Facebook or wherever you'd like to DM me. And I'll see if I can get that set up for you guys. Have a great week. I'll talk to you guys next week.